Structuring an HTML5 Part 2. My name is Dion for education.org. So what you see in the previous video is structuring, and now we're going to make a template out of it. Then making the HTML5 more semantic. I didn't know what it meant. Describing the new semantic tags, and then we're going to view those tags in a browser. So first, make a template. The previous video we talked about structuring, and now we're going to make a template out of that one. Why? This saves times and maybe mistakes. Every time use the same template as your basis, so you don't have to retype everything over and over again. So let's make that one. So first I'm going to go here. This is my default folder. I'm going to create a new text document. I'm going to call it template. And first comes, if you didn't start the previous video, first comes the describing that it's an HTML document. So I do it with doc type, and with lowercase I type HTML. This is describing that it is HTML. Then comes the HTML file itself. So HTML, and I'm going to close it with the closing tag as well. So in here comes the HTML. Then I have the header, the head, and of course I have to close the head. Inside the head, well, let's jump in a little to make it more clear. Inside the head comes the title of the document, and we have to close the title as well. Here comes the title. Then comes the body. The body actually contains the text that will be displayed. So we have to close that one as well. Body. Leave some space. And that's it. This is the basics. So file, save. This is my template. Now we're going to talk about HTML5. HTML5 is more semantic. My HP printer just wanted some attention, but I'm going to focus on the HTML5 semantic. I didn't know what semantic meant, so really have to go to a dictionary to understand the whole fuss about semantic. What is semantic? I have my favorite website, and that is dictionary.cambridge.org. Free to use, really nice. I can type in semantic, look it up. And this is semantic. And what is semantic? Semantic is connected with the meaning of words. So semantic means the meaning of words. Meaning of words are connected into HTML5. It's more describing some text. So you have text to describe some words or some text. Other thing about the dictionary is, this is excellent. I can pronounce it as well. How do I pronounce it in UK?
Semantic.
Semantic. USA.
Semantic.
Semantic. So if you have words and you don't know how to pronounce them, type into a dictionary in here and you will know how to pronounce it. I like this. So making HTML5 semantic. What is semantic? We just talked about it. It's describing the meaning of words. Why are we going to do it? In HTML5, I want to describe some kind of blocks of text. I wanted to say, hey, this is, for instance, an article, and this is a footer, this is a header. So with HTML5 text, I can describe the text that comes, or that's in there. It's also handy for content management systems. Joomla, for instance, WordPress, Drupal. It will have footers, it will have headers. You can describe them into a CMS. Easy as well for saying what's there. So describing the new semantic tags. They all come inside the body, and now comes a whole list. And what we can do is go in here and say W3 .org, and for instance section, what website was it here? Yeah, this website of the W3C describes all the new text, not the body but the sections, nav, article, aside. This is all the new one. H1 until H6 we described about it, but this is all the semantic tags. So the first one is the nav, the navigation. Navigation does what it says. Inside those you put the navigation buttons or the navigation links. Then we have the aside. Aside is on the side of your page, left or right, doesn't matter. Then we have the header containing the header for an article, for instance. We also have an H group and header group. The H group contains multiple headings. For instance, it contains not only one layer of text, but then also a subtext. So two text, I can have it, use it as an H group. I can even put an H group inside the header, or I can just don't use a header, just use an H group. Then we have an article. Article is the text that you want to display for the user to read. We have a section. A section is a part of an article. So an article can contain of multiple sections. And at last comes the footer. The footer is on the bottom. So this is a little bit vague, but this is a picture I made so to make it more visual. So first comes the navigation. At the end we see the footer. This is the aside, left, right, or even two asides, doesn't matter. Here comes the article. This is the header of the article. So I can use a header or an H group. H group contains multiple lines. I can even put the H group inside the header, and then I can have inside my article multiple sections. I hope this makes it more clear. So now a demo about that one. So for the demo I'm going to just make use of my template, so I don't have to retype that stuff all over again. File, save as, and I'm going to use it as what was it? It was structuring during part2.html. So this is the one. I'm going to call it structuring part2. And now comes the new semantic tags. First I start with the nav. Here comes the navigation. Close the nav as well. There we go. Then we have aside. This is the aside, and we can close the aside as well. Then we have an article, and we can close the article as well. But inside the article comes an H group, or comes a header. So let's say this is the header, this is the header. Close the header. Inside the header I can also use an H group, or I can say H group. Let's say header 3, this is a new article. Of course H3, there's also the tag H3. This is new article. Close the H3. And then for instance I can say H4 created on 2 December 2011. Close the H4 as well. Close the H group. And now I've created the H group. So, and then you have inside the article also sections. So section, and you can have multiple sections. So this is the closing one. So here we're going to say section 1, section 2, section 3. File, save. So this is describing the new semantic tags. Everything is nicely described. Don't forget the footer as well. Footer, this is the footer. Save, that's it. Now we all made those tags, those new semantic tags describing what information is in it, and now we're going to view them inside a browser. So this is the file. I call it structuring2. Opening, and wow. So here comes the navigation, here comes the site, here comes the header. It doesn't look that impressive. Only impressive is the H3 and H4, but it is semantic. If you want to make it look visually different, you have to use CSS. This is only describing how it looks like. So site is not on the site, you have to use CSS for that one. The footer, I can even put the footer in top, doesn't matter, you have to use CSS to make it visually look good. So we saw them all at work. It seems for nothing. You have to make CSS to make them good. Don't forget, there's also one tag, a div, a division. Division that we'll use a lot for CSS as well. Division are officially for non-text, but they are used a lot also for text. So division, it's an HTML5 tag, but it's mostly used for CSS, and we will see that tag in the CSS3 course. So what did we see? First we made a template. Then we talked about the new HTML5 semantic tags. We described those, and still go to this website for all the ins and outs. It's really nicely described. So this is the officially W3C organization website. And we saw those tags into a browser, and boy, that was a little disappointing. This was the Andresjes for Education. I want to thank you for staying smart.